Well, in front of me, I have a box from Valimor, as you can see, and you've got the domain name on there, kind of convenient for me. So Valimor have a Kickstarter campaign up, and it's not the first one I've dealt with. Their current campaign is the Valimor Makaidos, which is the watch we have in here, which I'll bring out in a few minutes. And the Makaidos is only up for another 3 days at the time of recording, so by the time I publish this on YouTube, probably about 2 days remaining. I do recommend checking out this campaign for two reasons. I mean, if you like the watch, obviously. The first one is the pricing is excellent. For a pre-order price on Kickstarter, $299 will net you a Swiss STP movement, or $399 if you do a kind of a open heart version, semi-skeletonized. So you're going to get either a Swiss STP 111 or a Swiss STP 615, both automatic movements. They're roughly comparable to an ETA 2824-2 standard grade. It's a little bit better power reserve on the STP. I think it's 44 hours on the STP and 38 from the ETA from memory. And, I'm just comparing to the standard grade here, and a slightly better accuracy in terms of, range for variance for seconds per day, that kind of a thing. Otherwise, they're pretty comparable. I think there's maybe one more joule on the STP, 26 joules compared to 25. So if you're familiar with ETA and not so familiar with STP, it's kind of definitely a good value alternative to the kind of standard grade ETA movement that many of these more expensive watches go for. So $299 or $399 with or without the skeletons. That's the first reason. The second reason, I'm just going to move this box to one side. This is a watch from their last campaign. Basically, this is a Valimor Caliburnus. And even though this is a new watch in the box, this watch that I have here, this is a red jasper dial and a natural gemstone. The last campaign, they used a range of different dials. They had blue lapis lazuli, black granite, red jasper. And in the Microbrand store, we also have an exclusive version of a green ocean grass agate. But anyway, so even though this was their last campaign watch, they've taken the case from this watch, which I'm really pleased with. I really like the case. It's a very nice design, and they've taken the bracelet from this watch and the straps, and what they've done is they've come up with a completely new dial, completely different movement inside. This is a IMHO to 8, but they're really using the same hands and to a certain extent the same indices as well, which you can see in a little bit. So it's, they've taken this and they've just changed pretty much everything on the inside from the dial on down. But the external shape and everything is exactly the same. So it comes in a very, very nice case. You'll have some really nice features on these cases that you just don't necessarily get on your entry-level watches for under $300, and then you've got a Swiss movement too. So that's why I think it's a really good value. It's even got a natural crystal on the end here, and you can see this kind of decoration around the edge. And this is a patented method that Valimor have for this particular application of aged steel that they're using. So definitely some nice features, but I don't want to dwell on this. We want to get stuck into the watch that's in the box. So I'm going to grab this out. I will show you what's in the box. So obviously I've already opened it. At the top of the box, I've got some spare, well, I guess a little tool to push out the links and a few spare links. That's pretty decent. Let's just move this to one side. So you get a warranty booklet. Basically, it's an instruction guide. This is the wrong one, of course, because I've got a prototype here. The real production ones will be produced after the campaign. So they've given me a book from actually the Caliburnus, but you'll have a warranty card to fill out there, several different languages. I just happened to randomly flick to one. They were English. So you get basically the warranty and some instructions, and you'll have a certificate of authenticity with a serial number, which is really the key part. You probably won't need this because if you're used to an automatic movement, everything's pretty stock and standard. There's nothing unusual in terms of the different stop positions on the crown, that kind of a thing. So nice to have it in a wallet so you can keep it somewhere. But, it's definitely a feature to actually get an instruction booklet these days on Kickstarter. So the rest of the packaging is identical actually to the Caliburnus, if anybody backed that campaign. I'm just going to put these on the floor here. Okay, so you get a quite well protected box. Not the prettiest, it's plastic, but it's really sturdy, which means it's not going to get banged around. And that's inside a cardboard box with the Valimor logo. And then the watch is seated very securely in here. Probably shouldn't do this, but it doesn't tip out or anything. So you have to pull a little bit to extract. So the version that I have here is also on the same bracelet that I was wearing. But it will by default come on a leather strap, and I'm going to show you the different strap options because we have them all in the store, so I might as well show you them there. And just to be clear about this, we're not going to be carrying the Makaidos in the store, so it's not a sales pitch or anything. I really like the Makaidos, but we can only afford to carry so many watches as we hold our own stock, and we definitely love the Caliburnus. I mean, the fact that I've got the red one there that I really like, that's my own personal one. So this is a very nice watch to have as well, but we're not stocking it. So this is, to my mind, an independent review. I'm going to point out a Showstopper in a little bit as well with this watch. I'll probably get to that in a few minutes. And if Valimor make one change, which I believe they will, working with Raymond has been wonderful. He's been very honest and forthright and very proactive as well, I must say. Then I think that issue would be addressed. But the watch as it is has, to me, a Showstopper issue that would make it non-functional, which I'm surprised there's another review of this that's out there that actually wasn't covered. So it does come over as negative, but I know Raymond really well because I've worked with him on some exclusive edition watches. He's been doing like Rolex repairs for like 15 years or so, and as well as doing his own brand now for a few years. So he's very technical. So he actually does all the watch assembly himself. He's totally capable of addressing this issue, and I'm 100% sure he will. So I would recommend the Makaidos with confidence, but you need to be aware of an issue in a review. And I'm always honest and point out the pros and cons. And I'm definitely seeing, to my mind, an issue that probably should have been addressed in the prototype stage, but I know that he's going to move on to this very quickly to address it before we hit production. So let's take a look at this watch a little bit more, talk about the features. There are actually several color variations. So this one no longer has a gemstone dial. But it's also a little bit dusty here, probably because I've been playing with it a little bit. So this watch, I'm not being compensated anyway. I'm not necessarily keeping this watch. I expect to return it. Sometimes they let me keep them, which is great, but I haven't even asked about that, so we'll see. Whoops. So you can tell I do live reviews because I have accidents sometimes. I almost knocked the camera over. So as you can see, it's got a sunburst effect on it. We're in indoor lighting here, so it might pick up some overhead light a little bit in a few places. But it really moves around. It's very nice. But the one feature that makes this exceptional, to my mind, it kind of reminds me of kind of like a deep ocean, the green, or if it was blue, because you've got a fume effect. That basically it starts dark on the outside and gradually gets lighter towards the center. And it's quite a strong fume effect. Sometimes they're minor. I reviewed a watch a couple of days ago, the Decima Silla, and that also has a fume, but it's much more subtle. So you can see it's got the same hands, same indices, same case, obviously a different movement at the back, but it's very nicely decorated. I've not bothered resizing this bracelet, but I'll put it on my wrist so you can have an idea. So definitely, it's got a little bit of, perlage on there, and it's and Cote de Genève and fun things that you could cover, but it doesn't, it's not going to be the prettiest of movements compared to some with blued screws, that kind of a thing, but it certainly looks really nice. And you've got this dragon scale, they call it, around the outside of the case back. So it's not just the plain exhibition case back. That dragon scale is reflected here and also down the sides of the bracelet, which is a very custom bracelet. So it's nice not to see an off-the-shelf one with just the lugins changed. This is a totally custom bracelet that Raymond Jones, the creator at Valimor, went through extreme pains to do. In fact, for the Caliburnus, he had them redo it so many times to get the color just right and the texture and the style just right. that the factory didn't want to work with him for his next version. So he's definitely a stickler when it comes to getting the quality he wants out of the watch. So this is the DX01, which is the cheaper one, $299 on Kickstarter. Retail is $499, so it's basically $300 just under on Kickstarter, US dollars I'm talking here, and retail's about $500 on this. So it has a date window, it hacks, it hand winds. I would love to put it out to show you the hacking and the hand winding, and here we're hitting the Showstopper issue. So these are 100, even though they're not a screw down crown, they are 100 meter 10 ATM water resistant rating on them. It's got a very nice 28,800 beats per hour, so it's got a very nice high beat movement, 8 ticks per second basically, so it's nice and smooth. But everything works great, but the one issue I'm having, because it's a 100 meter water rating and not screw down, he's got a double O-ring, I'm going to call it an O-ring in here, basically some rubber seals or whatever they're made from. I always call them rubber, but perhaps it's something else, and they're very, very tight, so it makes it very difficult to pull out the crown. And on the watch that I received here, I didn't have time to resolve this issue because I don't know why people haven't pointed this out to him. I actually can't pull it out most of the time using extreme force, which is not something you should do with a watch, but I might be able to get it this time to show you hacking. Nope, I cannot get this out. There, we got it. So we actually have it, of course, the second stop position, not the first, because I had to pull it hard, so it went straight past the first. So to adjust the date, I would then have to push it in a little bit, and now I can play with the date. So it's a very nice movement, nothing wrong with it. It's a very smooth winding movement. It's basically the fact that it's a little bit stiffer maybe than an ETA, but it's not bitty at all. So the reason I'm having this difficulty is the double O-ring is really tight. He needs to change the tolerance on that while keeping the 100 meter water rating, which means he's going to have to play with it a little bit. He assembles these himself. As I say, he's run a workshop for repairing Rolex and other watches. In fact, he provides a service to a number of stores and manufacturers for taking on their warranty repairs. So he certainly knows what he's up to, and I do believe he's going to fix it. But the watch as it is right now today, this is a showstopper. I find this as an unusable watch because I can't get that crown out. I'm either going to break it one day, or I just get lucky if I can get it out. I can't get it out this time. So it's painful for me, to be honest, because I'm gripping really hard and pulling hard. So I'm really surprised this wasn't addressed. He is aware of the issue. He is going to address it. I think probably he's rushed this one to market, even though there was an earlier Kickstarter campaign. I think he ran that at Christmas, so it didn't do so well. So here he is back again. It's a very nice watch, but I'm just totally surprised about this crown. Maybe other people don't have this difficulty. Maybe I got unlucky and this one's tighter than normal. Got it. So it's definitely an issue, and he didn't have a chance to send me anything with this issue resolved. So not quite caveat emptor. I'm sure he's going to address it, but just be aware. That's my showstopper issue. Otherwise, I really love this watch. I don't have any issues with it at all. It's a 42 millimeter diameter, 50 millimeter lug to lug. The lug width's 22 millimeters. So you can pretty much put any strap on you want. That's a 22 millimeter strap. It's got a very nice curved crown guard here. So it's a recessed crown a little bit. The crown's got I think it's a Schwarzkopf crystal. And even the crown's got some nice decoration on it as well. So I'm really loving this watch. I love it on the bracelet. The bracelet is an extra. It's an extra $95. If you get the watch on a standard strap, let's go through my straps here, then you are going to, there's a choice of colors, which I'll get into, but you're going to basically get a strap that will look like this. And this, I think they call it the dragon scale, but it's basically a ridgeback style strap. It's not made from anything other than cow leather, and they've got this patented system on the bracelet, and I'm not sure, I can't remember if this is patented too, but they've got this kind of fake ridgeback design. It's really cool. It looks very different to normal. And you can see the buckle is very well decorated as well. I just took the whole thing out. I didn't want to take it completely out of these straps in case I can't get it in easily. But it's got some very nice decoration on the buckle. This is custom. It's even been aged to match the bracelet, and you can get either a black or a kind of an aged look to it. And I prefer the aged look much more because you could wear this with a number of other things as well. And so that's very nice. And there's a choice of colors. We have a blue color version as well. Let's get this out. I'm going to have a smorgasbord of straps here. So there's a blue one. I think there's probably a red one. So you get an idea of the standard strap that you will get with the watch if you didn't want to go for the bracelet. It does look good on the watch. There are pictures on the website. But to be honest, even though this strap is very different to your normal strap and it's got a very nice buckle, I would get this so you could move this buckle to any strap you want, but also get the bracelet. If you miss the opportunity to get the bracelet, you'll be kicking yourself, because this is really what makes the watch so different to other watches out there. I wouldn't say it's an extremely posh watch, but it's, I've actually worn this with a suit and it's gone quite well, especially a dark suit. Obviously, it's not going to... it's more of a fun watch to have, but it's, as my everyday wear, I wear that red Jasper almost all the time. I'm wearing a red shirt, and if I'm dressed casually, it actually works pretty well for me as a fun watch to wear. It draws a lot of attention. People notice the strap more than anything. So definitely going for the strap is a good option. So let's look at some of the bracelets, the rest of these straps here. So we have a couple. They all come in these nice Valimor boxes. So we've looked at this one and this one. I'll just put that there. But we also have some other ones that are interesting that you might see in the campaign. So let's try and show you these, because I got these from the last campaign, but it's pretty much the same thing. So this is their vintage style strap, and all of these are top grain leather, which is very nice. This one is an Italian calf leather. I think this one is just cow, not necessarily calf, but could be calf skin as well. But you get this in a variety of colors. I only have a couple of colors here in front of me. I don't want to spend all day going through these for you, but just to give you an idea. So we have a blue as well, just to give you an idea. And then the one that I really liked, not so much for this watch, I was thinking of getting these and using them on other watches, but as an extra, they also have a Nile crocodile, which is really exciting. So this is the red Nile crocodile, and I really like this strap. It's one of my favorite leather ones. I actually like it more than the Ridgeback. The Ridgeback one is probably the most interesting because it's different, but this one is... nice strap to have, and there's a blue version of it. So you have an idea about some of the straps that we have here, and also some of the straps that Valimor carry. But really, it's the watch that we want to take a look at here. So, lovely watch. I'm trying to think if there are any other features I need to let you know. So I think I mentioned the power reserve, 44 hours power reserve. It hacks, it hand winds, 100 meter, which is 1080 water resistance. I didn't give you the height, I think, which is just under 13 millimeters. It should be sapphire glass, and I haven't actually tested that on this one yet. So let's do a quick test. And I can light up the Lume, but the Lume on the, it's the same indices. The Lume on the Caliburnus wasn't exactly something to write home about, but this is a semi-dress watch, so it really doesn't matter. So let's just put the light on here so you can see what is lumed. You can see the hands are lumed, and there's little dots just right up against the against the chapter ring on the edge of the indices as well that are loomed. Probably Swiss Superluminova. This is growing a nice cool nice cool blue, which surprised me. I thought these would be green for this watch, so maybe they use the same hands on all the watches. Let's talk about the colors of the watch really quickly. The watch faces you get a solid black. You can get a Fume green, which is this one, a Fume blue, which is a nice deep blue, and a Fume red, which is also very good. I actually like all three, red, green, and blue. They all have this kind of black outer look. In terms of the indices, you have a choice of gold indices, which come with a black bracelet and a black case, or actually you pick the bracelet, which come with a black case, so therefore you'd want to get a black bracelet. Or you have a choice of these silver indices, which will be my choice. The gold looks a little blingy to my taste, but some people like gold. So, but I think with the aged steel, this is perfect because it just makes this so different, and it makes it look a little bit better, I think, than just the solid black bracelet that you get. So let's do the quick test here. And basically, if this lights up at all, usually 3 bars or so, then it's sapphire glass. 3 bars on the nose. Yep, so we have sapphire glass, which I anticipated. On the last campaign, it was mineral glass, and you could pay extra for sapphire glass. But basically, this campaign, I do believe everything's sapphire glass now. You can probably find that out in the comments or ask a question if you hit Kickstarter. So if you're interested in this, just look for Valimor. That's probably the easiest to spell. Just go to Kickstarter and type in VALIMOR. But do it quickly. There's still some early birds and there's still a couple of days left. If you're interested, I definitely think it's an extremely good value for the price. I think it's a fun, unusual, interesting piece. I love this watch. I'm very disappointed actually about the crown. It shouldn't be stuck like this. And it's a known issue apparently because the tolerance is just too tight and you've got a double O-ring there. Can't get it out again. So definitely I know that this needs to be addressed. He won't be able to go to production like this, but he's just to tell you a bit more about his story. Every time I've worked with him, both on the Caliburnus, we took the same risk as individual backers. We bought a whole ton of the Caliburnus watches. We paid up front before the campaign even collected any money, so we were kind of the first in the door there. To buy a volume of them, not just 1 or 2 watches. And, he's been really good. He's worked with us, anything to do with deadlines and dates. He's just proactively got in touch with us all the time. We've worked with him on a couple of, 2 different exclusive versions of the gemstone dials for the Microbrand store. And again, he's been just totally honest up front and has followed through every time, hasn't dropped the ball ever. So I think as far as a creator goes, he has one of the best communications out of any of them. Normally creators are very busy, and even when he's busy, he's just never let anything go. He's always come back with an answer if I've asked a question or asked him to do something for me. So as reliable as they come, and he also has the technical ability to take care of this. He's the one doing these installations himself. Obviously the case is made in a factory for him, and so is the bracelet, but the assembly is being done in his workshop by the creator, which is nice. You're going to have a human touch to this. The individual who's selling you the watch didn't just have somebody else do a design and create it and just basically making money for doing very little. He's basically assembling these watches. He's worked very hard on the design himself and can handle all the warranty issues if there are any repairs during the, I can't remember, it's a 2-year warranty from memory, whatever the warranty period may be. So it's definitely very well from his last campaign. I don't recall anyone being unhappy with their watches there at all. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be glad to answer them. I'm going to also in the comments on YouTube put a link to the other review I've done of all of the other watches, just in case you're curious, and that will give you an idea about the rest of the models that he has, and he's pretty much sold out of those now. I think we have some left in the store, but that tells you how popular they were. So he did really well with that campaign, and this one, it's a little bit different to what most people expect. So it's a good price, Swiss movement, and an unusual bracelet and case. So I like the fact that it's not your cookie cutter watch. You can't really say he's aping another brand here. So I really like that. He's definitely tried to be creative. If I was going to be critical, obviously the crown, that's a no-brainer. I think I like the fact that you really get an empty dial with mostly the very deep sunburst effect. But at the same time, it sometimes can be a little bit more interesting to do a bit more with the indices maybe, but I have no complaints about that. The the attraction of this watch is the Fume sunburst for sure, and the bracelet. So I don't necessarily think that's a particularly bad issue. If it was a very simple case, maybe I might have an issue with it. But or a bland kind of just a sunburst throughout. But this still has my eye. I've been looking at it quite a bit the last couple of days. I've not been wearing it because I can't really adjust the time very easily, and so I can't say I've given it any wrist time as such. But I've definitely been testing it out in other ways, winding it, let it run, making sure it's performing within factory specs, that kind of a thing. So he's done a pretty good job otherwise. It's solidly built. He just needs to address the fact that the crown's too tight, and then this is a winner. I mean, you can't really go wrong for under $300 with a Swiss automatic movement, well-built watch, totally custom bracelet for an extra $95 if you want it, but you're still going to get an interesting ridgeback strap and case with this. The case is definitely an interesting case. Somebody mentioned in a review that it's very similar to a Christopher Ward watch case. So let me go grab one of my Christopher Wards. And I think on a whole, that was a fair assessment, but it certainly isn't copied from it. So if you can see here, the two designs are very similar. Slightly different. This is more angular on the Christopher Ward watch. This is my GMT. But this one it's got curves throughout. So it's not really a clone. It just happens to be somewhat similar. Same style. I love the soft curve of that. I hate angular kind of lug guards when they come up. I don't really like curves. It makes it a little bit more subtle, and in fact it also makes the crown guard appear to be part of the crown almost, especially with a recessed crown like that. So definitely a nice feature of the design, so nothing to complain about there. So I think I've covered everything, and I hope this was useful. But again, let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching. Take care.